right. Thank you very much for joining me for this coaching session, man. So we talked aggressive. Don't think. Sorry about that. I don't think this is exactly the deck that you're, but this is a sort of aggressive slash combo deck that has synergy. It's not.
Mhm.
It's not really. I guess Magic terms. Hearthstone might call it more of a combo deck. Magic world, I don't think this would be called a combo. Combination of cards. It just has extraordinarily powerful synergies.
Gotcha. Being the hero, just procking off most of the other cards, if not all of them.
Right. That being one of the main powerful synergies. We have miniature synergies in the deck, such as Sorin, Deputy. Um,
Mhm.
Things like Sorin, return a creature, bounce it, Fairy Time Raveler, play Sorin again, return it. Things like that.
Mhm.
And really make this deck feel like it has the powerful plays that contribute to presence. Giant swing, kind of
Mhm.
like a token. Um, but that's getting a little bit ahead of ourselves. Let's talk about your skills in standard, right? Um,
Mhm.
Looked like from your deck screen, you kind of had everything.
Yes. Oh, so are you asking like where I stand in standard?
Yeah. Um, where are you? What are you finding success with?
So do you mind if I go back to the deck screen?
I just
So I
wanted to
played.
start from there. That's all.
Gotcha. Um, so a lot of what I enjoyed is I took just a standard Esper control list. Probably it shifted as the meta was settling, so a lot of things changed. Let me find. Where is it? Or maybe gone now. I might have swapped it out for something else,
No,
like the mid range.
I excuse me.
No
Sorry.
problem.
We know what a standard aspect,
Gotcha.
right?
So Esper Control took me all the way to, I think, Plat, if not all the way to Diamond. And then after lots of exploring and just lurking around at the bedrock of Diamond, I found a mono white. It's kind of a white weenies deck. This one was the one that got me from Diamond to Mythic last night.
Nice. Standard
So
standard deck here.
yeah, definitely.
You're playing best of one, right?
Best of three, actually.
Oh, best of three. All right, cool, cool. We
Yeah,
can talk about that. We have time then too.
right on.
So, you talked a little bit about you want to plan ahead, having a long-term game plan, um, about getting and reacting. Those are all You're correct. Those are all ways of saying the same thing. They're all ways of saying how to what. They're all ways of making a plan. They're always of saying I feel like I'm not planning ahead far enough. Reacting being changing that plan a little bit specialized. That's and a little bit of a specialized skill in that area, but it's in that area. So before you hit the play button, what do you think about?
So typically it's so let's say I've played the ladder for just a little bit. It's a lot of what is going on the ladder right now because you can usually feel okay, a lot of people are playing Nexus Control right now or something like that. And so going into that, I think of what okay, so I'll just show you an example from last night.
Sure.
So in the mono white deck, I noticed that where are we? Snubhorn Sentry was a dead card most of the night because it just wasn't aggressive last night. So swapping this from my main board to the sideboard and putting things like a Dovin's Veto in the main board, although bad in the sense that if I were to run into an aggro deck, but most of my matchups are against control for the night.
Okay, cool. Do you think about that after every game, after every match, um, or do you kind of just think about that when you decide what to?
Just kind of during sessions. So like if I just start with this deck for a while and I'm getting shut down, or I'm starting all my game ones are against a control deck, and every sideboard goes into taking all 4 of these out because it's too slow, then it becomes okay, well maybe I should just change my main board a little bit.
What method do you use to track that? Do you deck, any of the deck trackers or Excel sheet?
Neither, just to kind of feeling it out throughout the night. Are there deck trackers available for Arena
Several.
right now?
Yep.
Okay.
You have things like MTGA Pro Tracker, A Tracker. You have Untapped.gg. That's the one that comes from the HS Deck Tracker.
Gotcha.
It is not as good as HS Deck Tracker. However, HS Deck Tracker has had many years product.
Gotcha. I didn't realize that there was a deck tracker out.
Yeah, they'll get stats on it for you.
That's good to know.
Yeah, they don't really have like meta games yet or anything like that. Very difficult yet. Have such low market penetration, but yeah, I would. That things I can tell you that you greatly is track your match in a way more than just feel. Ever. I liked that evaluation that you talked about. However, you didn't talk anything about how your own talked about what your deck would be. How do you know what your deck will be?
So feeling out the match, so going into a best of 3, for example, or so like this one, I think has a really good standing against like aggro, and it has potential going into game 2 or 3 against. So just talking about mono white specifically for this one, because of things like the where is it, the snub horn, it helps against aggro. I also have lots of life gain. This guy makes a life link. I've got the 4 enchantments, the Legion's Landing. So it helps keep up with aggro, but then cards such as the Vanguard help me go aggressive very quickly against control. And so then coming into game 1 and realizing you can usually tell really quick, obviously, just by their land and what colors they're playing on how I need to start playing. And then that kind of takes me into game 2 and 3 of what's the best method for me to win this.
Okay, cool. I know immediately how I can help your mulligans then.
Perfect.
Is you have not at all really been focusing on your own deck's strategy and what it needs to be doing to excel. And this is the simple question. It's a little oversimplistic. With a different student, it was still gonna for you.
Go for it.
Is how does your deck win? And your immediate answer that you're going to think of here, because of what you've done so far, I know is going to be, well, I need to attack past my opponent's blockers, make myself bigger than what my opponent's doing. Of course, not the way that your deck wins. Your deck wins by making a bunch of creatures and then attacking with. That is the simplest way. The simplest way to explain what your deck does, and mono white is the best deck in the format at making a lot of creatures, attacking your that as quickly as possible. So that your reaction to that is probably like, yeah, Brandon, that's an explanation. But that's how you have to mulligan, right? You have no idea what your opponent is. That's how you have to mulligan. Standard is pretty wide, right? Not going to be against the same kind of strategy. Even if it was different decks, you're not going to be against the same kind of strategy every. However, if you do see you are against the same strategy every match, that's when you do make those adjustments that you're talking about. And you can make those adjustments mulligan well when you are starting up that game one match. Something that if you're playing expert control, be incredibly important. Feeling how the metagame is, and your statistics from the night so far.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at another deck.
Sure.
Does MTG Arena do sample hands at all?
I could. Okay. Would I just go to
any other deck? Yeah. And then I think if you go to, nope, darn, bummer. All right. Well, have you played this deck much?
I was trying this one for a little while. This one got me. So I'm not too keen on green, especially. I'd say that's my least. The color I'm the worst in. If I had to pick figuring out my ranking with colors. So like obviously, green wants to go big and do it quickly. They have ramp cards like the elves, and whereas this one doesn't, and even Domri helps you get a little more mana.
Yeah.
So just going big and doing it very quickly. So mulliganing for things like Leonor elves and I guess other green decks like have the I'm also awful at names, and you'll recognize that quickly.
Sure.
The 2/1 hexproof, add any color for 2 mana.
Druid.
Yes, and then also there's the O2 adapt, add mana.
Druid.
Yes, thank you.
I noticed that you're not playing either of those here. You have the Domri. So
yes.
When you see an opening 7 with this deck, an opening hand.
Mm-hmm.
Probably knew what I meant. My apologies. You see an opening 7 with this deck. Can you keep a 7-card hand that does not have Domri?
So I think sometimes I will keep them if I know I have the mana available for a turn 2 play at least, such as curving out a growth chamber into a Legion War Boss. But maybe that's where I'm going wrong. Now that you've asked me that question. Okay.
That's actually correct. But those are the sorts of questions that you will have to ask yourself before you queue up. It's a lot harder to make the decision in 60 seconds than it is before you queue up, and the kinds of hands that you keep, what those are before you up. Where do you typically get your deck list?
I'll go off of just like recent tournaments and seeing what placed and seeing what's fun about that. I've noticed that a lot of the so for example, there's that pod replication that's been going around. That is a deck that is beyond me currently. I don't know how to play that one efficiently at all.
Pod replication.
Let me find it. It's replicating the old pod decks. Let me see if I have it.
Oh, I see. Yeah, Vanifar.
Yeah. Yes. So
yes,
that one is
decks, yes.
Is beyond my current understanding of how to play these decks, especially since I never actually played pod. I've just heard and seen it.
Well, as someone who played Birthing Pod in Standard and Modern of it, it is easier when you play it than when you're looking at it. Because when you play it, you have X plus 1, Y plus 1 to pick from, right? You only have whatever creatures in play or whatever creatures in hand and deck. So, and that's actually, in my opinion, a Vanifar deck is easier to mulligan with than a mono white deck.
Is that because it's just more black and white? It's more, I'm going to keep this because it has this rather than circumstance?
Right, because rather than cards that are redundant, Vanifar has a lot of specific cards. Only one or two things. You have to know if the one or two things that the cards in your hand do is going to be good enough to win. This is also, I think, why beginning with control decks is a lot easier. Aggro deck. It's the same sort of thing. There's the redundancy in control decks is a lot more flexible. A control deck hand, if I tell you have 4 lands, a card advantage spell, removal spell, and a planeswalker, what are the odds that you keep that hand?
See, it's so I'm thinking because for
Sure.
example, back when I would play like I'll just pick a Nesper list.
Yeah.
So I would always prioritize things like maybe a removal spell, and then Thought Erasure is kind of a snap keep in my opinion, just because you get there's a lot of perks to
You can
Thought
count that
Erasure.
as a removal spell in this example.
So when I'm mulliganing, I'm typically looking for over 3-ish lands, 3-4, and then so I guess I would keep that just because I have card draw, or there's a lot of flexibility with that hand
Right.
that you mentioned.
That's what a control deck does. Has to generate card generate card advantage over the game with some sort of spell. Some control decks don't have any win. Aim to tire your out. Brian Brandoin had his anus deck, as he called it.
Mm-hmm.
That aim deck your opponent. But if I and that'd be a control happy with. If I told you the same thing, that Gruul deck, if I say it has a spell, drop Planeswalker.
It's just too slow for that play style of a deck.
It might be, but
Or,
what if what if I told you the drop was Growth Chamber Guardian,
mm-hmm.
the removal shock, and the Adomri Anarch of Bolt, right?
Mm-hmm.
That means that you'll be able to answer anything. A threat on your second turn, bridge to the late game on your. However, that hand was instead Lightning Strike, Dire Fleet Devil, and Sarkin the Masterless. Right, that is definitely light on action. It would be a lot more risky.
Mm-hmm.
Go back down to White Weenie, and I tell you, got a removal spell, a 1-drop, Gideon, lands, never keep. So, but if I tell you, I've got 4 1-drops, 2 Gideon, ecstatic. So that's something that you want to think about with your deck is how is it winning? Where's the redundancy? How do generic cards fit into my plan? Or if you're something like a Nexus deck or a Vanifar deck, something with a more specific plan, what specific cards do I need to fit into that plan? So you're genericizing and or to achieve that plan. That's what you want to think about before you.
Mm-hmm.
This is something that also decks later. I mean, you can brew decks now. They won't work when they start, but maybe draft deck have under. But it's something to think about when you. How does it win? The same as in Hearthstone, right? These are also concepts. Hearthstone, you have to focus a little bit more because there's just a lot less redundancy in Hearthstone. But
There's no reaction in Hearthstone either.
yeah, but um, we're not mulligan. We're not really working.
Mhm. So I think that's another question I have is should a hand always be proactive or is it fair to keep something reactive? Like for example, if we're playing like Esper Control, um, is it bad to keep things like a Despark in hand game one as well as like an absorb? Because although these are removal spells, they're circumstantial. If my opponent doesn't play anything, then I'm just sitting here with the cards.
So this is actually a really good example. With Esper in particular, how great would you feel if your opponent just did nothing for them, right? Sitting with,
Uh-huh.
unless it's the mirror match, you feel great
Uh-huh.
because the longer that exchange goes on, more likely it is that you will, because you'll be drawing your breaths, your development of card advantage, like your specifically things like say help to help make these examples more. Start using a more unique cards.
Mm-hmm.
Fear to fairies like that. Leverage the cards that are to craft a game plan that says, okay, when I draw fairy, I'm going to be able to play to fairy, live, be able to do other things.
Mm-hmm.
So specifically with a control deck, keep a hand of only active cards.
Okay.
Could never ever do that, right? On a white deck.
Uh-huh.
Awful. You might be tempted to do with a group. That would be the wrong choice. Deck of only lightning strike, or draw of only lightning strikes, shocks,
Uh-huh.
Domries. It's not keepable.
Mm-hmm.
It is because of your game plan, that generalized game plan I'm talking about, that Esper, any control, can keep a hand of just react.
Gotcha.
Especially if it's more flexible reactive stuff, which is what like tends to play.
Mm-hmm.
Things like Wrath are any sort of AoE board clear is a very flexible, happens to be so a great source of card advantage. But it's flexible.
Uh-huh.
Counter spells similar. They are flexible cards in the way that a Snubhorn Sentry is not flexible. Snubhorn Sentry only it blocks until it's a 3/3 and then it is.
Uh-huh.
Adanto Vanguard, very inflexible.
Mm-hmm.
As the fairy is basically definitionally all those planeswalkers that have +1 card advantage, -3 protect itself. All those planes are flexible.
Uh-huh.
So,
okay.
All right, so let's go. Take a break from all this information. Let's go pick a deck.
Okay. Is there a deck that you would I'd say that you're probably more versed in that you feel even better talking about that you think that I'll grow the most from? Because I'm willing to play anything. I don't have a specific field. It's whatever will be the most beneficial.
Well, that would be
Okay.
that's deck I'm a most expert. However, I do have a whole EA team, so pretty much
Uh-huh.
been talking about everything. I am
Gotcha.
more than comfortable any deck that you want to play, except for one, and that is um, there is a Command the Dread slash. Well, it's not even Command the Dread hard focus. It's combo deck based around historic mechanic.
Okay.
When you cast a historic spell from an historic creature from your graveyard.
Okay.
That is a deck that I've been playing and do not get yet. So I'm guessing
Okay.
guessing that's not one that's been across your radar.
Right on. All right. So, do you have a Gruul list you'd prefer, or does any of them?
Any of them matter. So
Okay.
let's look at the deck. I mean, I know that we talked a little bit about how it wins already, right? Talked a little bit about how it wins already. However, I want to hear from you, like what excites you about this deck. What is game plan and how it wins?
I think it has a lot of flexibility in regards to things you can do. Like against a control deck early on, the Daredevil, I would just run it as a 2-drop because I'm probably not going to be using most of their spells in the early game. So just having board presence and pressure. So I think just constantly applying pressure is kind of what I'm getting at.
Okay,
And
cool. That's a
you can
really
achieve
good.
that with a lot of things.
That's a really good word to summarize a deck. You have a powerful mid trans. A little bit slower and slightly big aggressive deck.
Mhm.
All right. I think you'll be looking for in the mulligan.
So as far as mulligan goes, I think that Growth Chamber is probably one of the best 2-drops in the game, just because he has so much flexibility too. If turn 3 you have a dead turn, you can even bluff, like baiting out removal on it. So if they try to shock it, I can adapt in response. So not only did I burn a card, but I drew a card. Now I have a 4/4. Things like that. So I think this is a kind of a snap keep in my opinion. Domri is important. And then I would probably also keep Crawl just because it's aggressive. A 3/2 for 2 is pretty cool. Gotcha. A real example.
We can talk about how the game plan from talk us through.
Okay. So this is one that I would probably be tempted to keep just because it's not too flooded on lands, but I can end up playing most things. So I'll have this on turn 2, this to react on turn 1. Assuming that in 3 draw steps I can hit my 4th land, I can Chandra on 4.
So you said tempted to keep. However, I would be excited.
Okay.
What do you? You can play at your own pace.
Okay.
Talking and playing. You for anything. And why do you think that there's that difference? Why do you think I was excited to you?
I think I'm just not well versed, so I'd say ill confident is kind of a way to
Haven't
phrase
developed the confidence.
it. With what a snap keep is for this deck.
Got it.
when going up with weenies, I would just snap keep. If I have low land, lots of action, I curve out well. Keeping a 2/1 on turn 1 is insane.
Okay. How do you
I
feel about
actually wish I. Or go ahead.
how do you feel about how this game has developed?
Um, I'm glad I attacked first because I realized, or for this exact reason. But I was kind of wishing that I would have shocked that in, so then I could adapt in response. But maybe it's fine if I got the removal out. Is Spell Pierce still huge in the main board?
No, it's not.
Okay.
However, mono blues.
I suppose that's true too.
But yeah, I would go for it. So I would say that these first couple of turns have gone exactly according to the strategy of right.
Just being able to have board presence remove.
Um, yeah, I think that was good mulligan part. I think I think you can. I should ask you, can you see how that mulligan decision paid off with what has transpired?
I think that it was good in the sense that like I've removed a lot. He's obviously getting a little. He's not getting any lands, but maybe he doesn't want to. Maybe he has enough action for 2 mana. Let me see.
Yeah, I think we through kind of on the general game plan and how it all worked out for Smolik. And here, go ahead and attack, and I can talk you through. So you can either pump here. Oh yeah, definitely want to pump here. Why do you think that is?
So if I pump, then he responds with whatever he's going to do, probably a dive down on this just to block it. And then I can respond with Collision Colossus.
Yeah, that seems pretty great, right?
And so would you, I didn't think of it till a moment later. Should I just pump this?
Oh yeah.
Instead of blasting that? Yeah.
Get 3.
And the removal.
Yep.
There's a lot that went into that.
Yeah, Collision Colossus is pretty good.
Yeah, it's one of the. I didn't see a lot of potential in it for a while, but it's one of the really good split cards, especially since both halves are only 2 mana.
Right. That's a lot of. Go ahead and attack again. Here I like casting Dire Fleet.
Okay.
Probably countered, but doesn't then counter Spell Pierce.
And that'll secure my Growth Chamber.
Right.
And then I think something that's different with bluffing in like an online card game as opposed to tabletop Magic. Should I hold on to the land as well,
Well,
or
you should play your growth chamber first, right? Because that's
okay?
That's what they. Um, However, because you have growth chamber, you want to have can
So I should play it this turn for sure. Okay. And then I don't have to shock it because I won't have anything else. Okay.
And if you can't use the mana or there's no reason. So answer your question. Bluffing, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, bluffing is less valuable
Mm-hmm.
at our level. If you can use any sort of resource, you can use a resource in a way that's advancing your game plan and advantageous to you. Just use it.
Okay, gotcha.
And I will say in general, players in newer Magic the Gathering value bluffing is something that style attacks and blocks and things like that rather than cards and then sandbagging a little.
This is a snap mulligan, right? Because there's
correct.
It's only okay. It's only chance that I actually get there.
Oh.
I like it. Okay.
And
would you keep on? So we're at 5 cards now. I have 1 scry and 2 draw steps before this would even be playable.
Yes, I would keep this hand because not winning card hand. So
and then to the bottom, right? Yeah. We need the land.
Knowing that your opponent kept 7 is the crucial factor at 5
Gotcha.
card hand. If your opponent had mulligan, I'd be much tempted go down to 4.
Gotcha.
So that's like, yes, sometimes when you're blindly has done, it's not
and then warrior, I think, is the most.
This deck is always warrior unless you have no. That's like less than 1.
Mm-hmm. So because of curving out efficiently, a spell keeper.
There are a lot of reasons to play Spellbreak.
Or breaker, sorry.
Yeah, there are a lot of reasons to. Yes, it is. If you don't know what playing the thing that costs.
Gotcha.
But let's go plus.
Okay, that's what I was.
I can explain that.
Gotcha.
Talking about the mana, right? Like it's the same as Hearthstone.
I like the solid reaction. It's going well.
Mana efficiency, and it's also buying you time to draw out.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously the bigger creature buys you that.
I mean, this could have been a concede like 2 turns ago. The time's fun too. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it was actually worth that. That was pretty fun.
God.
Yeah, I would have.
Play your
you
odds.
like double blocking it.
Uh-huh.
So, um, yeah, I think I made about mana efficiency. It's like
Just a buffer.
all right, this is interesting. Finally, go ahead.
So I would mulligan it just because it's strictly reactive. This is colorless, and this comes in tapped. So even if I do hits, I just think that this is so. I'd claim warrior, which I have a thing to play for. I just think it's a mulligan personally. I'm on the draw, so I do have time.
So this is actually a keep.
You like to keep it?
Yep.
Right on.
Go ahead and while we're waiting, skip there. Go ahead and why I might before knowing that it worked out.
We just have enough draw steps before turn 3 when it matters if I hit that land or not.
Right, so that's the first half. Second half is that your deck is mostly red sources.
Right? So being able to just have that red source.
So you're very likely to draw your second.
Gotcha. Which I need the 2 for the 2 planeswalkers.
If the lightning strikes, you have that. You have that time to draw into. Say you got stuck on the. Have 2 things to do.
Gotcha.
Buy into something like.
Yeah. I always wait till the very end step. It's
okay.
Habit at this point.
Yeah, perfectly good.
Just because they're out of their main phase, so they can't. I mean, he didn't have any mana, but either way.
Good habit. Good. Either way. Here it doesn't matter what you name.
And then should I go aggressive with this or?
Okay, so you're gonna play it as a 4/4. I will talk about that. I made my point on the mulligan. Is that clear? So it can be difficult to get through all this while you're playing again.
Yeah, you're fine.
Asking you. Gruul Spellbreaker as a 4/4 against all creature decks forever. Pause.
And then should I just lightning strike this?
Yes, you should.
And then push?
Lightning strike Daredevil. You could give your opponent the chance to like stake and block, but so okay, pause.
Okay, I'm ready.
Gruul Spellbreaker as a 4 against creature decks almost always. Like unless you're winning the game that turn next, I play it as a 4.
Okay.
So the shortcut that I use with this decision. Gruul Spellbreaker attacking 3 times with haste is more damage attacking twice as a 4. I have to attack 3 times as a 4. Get the same amount of. So it doesn't. If I'm only attacking, like if my opponent is I always won. However, if I am ever considering blocking, it's more valuable.
Gotcha.
So that's where all of the heuristics about Riot come. Saying Spellbreaker as the example. That's where you draw the line.
And against a control deck, if I am going in game 2, I know it's control. I got my Spellbreaker out on turn 3.
You even know it's control. Most of the time, you know it's control.
So then you're just always turning sideways, haste.
Right.
Just because it's faster and it has less time to be removed.
Right. And never blocking.
Gotcha.
If I'm never blocking with a breaker, ace.
Gotcha.
It's a very easy decision, but it's because of that math.
Okay.
Say I had a 1/1 creature with Riot, almost always giving it. That comes up in draft, right, with Clamor Shaman,
Uh-huh.
right? So Clamor Shaman is the when it attacks something,
Mhm.
and that obviously has that clause. If you use that clause right away, the haste is very valuable.
Gotcha.
And since you get to use that ability every turn, it makes it a real decision. If you have that ability, just a 1/1 with Riot, you would always play it.
Gotcha.
I'm like how that matters.
Mhm.
There's Gruul Spellbreaker. That one's easy, but not, or that one's easy to explain.
Uh-huh.
Not necessarily easy to get to that math. Sweet. How do you feel about mulliganing with this deck so far? We had 3 really good examples. Easy easy mulligans for different reasons. Complicated.
I like being able to see the complicated one just because obviously it worked out, and if it didn't, then it would have been a shame. But it's cool to see something that my first instinct is to not keep, but then see the potential of it as we're going.
Okay.
And then learning like the lightning strikes as a buffer to get to my Gruul Spellbreaker, things like that.
All right. Have you ever used mtg.com?
That's the one I typically get my decks
Perfect.
from.
Okay. Can you share that? Let's do some sample mulligans.
Sure.
Blitz through some mulligans.
Let me change screen. Okay.
Awesome. All right. Go to some standard. All right. Let's look at. How about do you play mono red aggro at all?
I did. Getting to gold, I think, this is what kind of got me there.
Okay. Try some.
Sure. Where's the? Oh, is it just down here? No.
It should be somewhere. This page.
Visual.
There was a hands button. Am I hitting set as?
I don't know what I just did. Set as current. Should I sign in?
Sorry.
No, it's okay. I could have sworn I've seen sample hands somewhere on here as well, or at least on a similar site that I've been to. One moment, let me. I too to look for one.
All right. TCG player. That's got sample.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect. Oh wow. What do you think about this one?
Does it say if we're on the draw or on the play?
Let's just do like 5 where we're on the play. 5 in a row.
I would. We're on the play all the time. I would keep this because I can turn 2, search for his Kanta.
That's like the most powerful thing in standard.
Yeah, it's just such a powerful card. Instant remove, instant play. Tons of card draw, reaction.
And you have all your color.
Yes, and everything's here.
Yeah. All right, cool. Another.
Okay, let's see. 4 lands. And then 2 endgame cards. I probably wouldn't just because I don't think I would ever get there. I have to survive comfortably till turn 4 to do something. And
What
then
if
it
I
wouldn't
tell
be till...
you? So it's not true. So that's correct in this deck.
Mhm.
This deck has wow. What a interesting deck. This deck only has 8 spells that cost less than 4.
Okay.
So yes, that's correct. But what if I told you there were 12 removals that cost less? That means that 90% to draw a removal by turn 3.
I could see it. I mean, so we've got all the colors here.
It's not exactly the math. It's more like still. What if I told you that you were 90% to draw a removal?
And we're on the play, which helps. I guess I would keep it just because if you're playing odds, I will draw something that can react to whatever they're doing. And then I have late game and card draw.
All right.
What would you have kept that one?
No, you were absolutely right to throw that away. I was just like,
okay.
I was just bending the example to give you,
make it enticing.
Yeah, to show you kind of where that line is, because exploring those lines are what help you develop that confidence in practice.
Gotcha.
Be on the play.
Yeah. So I think this is a really risky one in the sense that you're kind of going all in on the search. It has a lot of tools. So it has 2 reactive spells and then 2 proactive things, as well as your search. I guess greedy is what I would call it, assuming that the search resolves, that they can't counter it.
So you're on the play. Pretty good assumption.
That it will be, unless I guess Spell Pierce would be the one.
Right, but
the
that's
only
very,
circumstance.
very rare.
So I would keep it just because it does have like constant scry potential. 2 pieces of removal. I'll probably hit those lands.
All right. Cool.
Yeah, and then with scry, or no, it's not scry, it's surveil, right?
It's actually.
Or just scry?
It's surveil. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, because then that kind of fuels being able to transform this one into a land as well. So I don't know. I would keep this with some risk. So this one's curious too, because on turn 4. Okay, no, I think I would keep this actually. So I get to turn 4 on the play. They have 3 mana. They, I guess, at a worst case, could have 3 creatures in which I could remove with Ritual of Soot, or if they're playing so.
Don't have double black.
You're right. You are right. Okay, I think that's something that playing a little too fast, or like especially in like a tricolor format where tricolors are huge, seeing that something that I neglect is making sure that I like for sure have all my colors immediately, if it's necessary, or having double black. So although I do have all my colors, one of these steam vents should have been another blood crypt.
Yeah. This is actually helps me make another really important point out this open,
Mm-hmm.
right? This is something you're going to notice. It's going to take a while to parse some. It's the how your lands and order in which you play matters and contributes to how your deck is played.
Uh-huh.
Right? So here have sulfur. So you can play any of your lands on turn past certain on turn deck. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Or however, okay. So this is part of planning ahead as well as so kept the 7. Wrong choice and you kept the 7. Not that wrong.
Uh-huh.
Not that wrong.
Okay.
Made the wrong choice and you kept the 7. What land do you defense or is it blood?
Blood crypt to make sure that you have the black open later.
Why?
Because all my cards require black and 2 of them require double black or triple black even.
Okay. Great.
That will also allow me to just open up blue with Sulfur Falls without shocking.
Yes. Okay. What about if your hand was 2 blood crypt, 2 steam?
I think still blood crypt, right? I just need to make sure I hit that double black by the time that ritual of soot is live.
Excellent. That's the right reason.
Mm-hmm.
But those are the reasons that you need to go through. And as you play with a deck, this will like have to think about these questions. Second nature.
Uh-huh.
Those are the questions that you need to be asking yourself. Game plan goes. Every single turn when you ask yourself that question about how are these linked, that further reinforces everything that decided about how you're going, and it will make everything planning wise second nature.
Mm-hmm.
You might be more confident that you're going to lose, but you'll be more confident about how the game is holding as making that question a game plan from your forward.
Gotcha.
All right. Another deck. Do you want to? We got. I think this has been the information I really want you.
Uh-huh.
In a couple different methods. I'm not exactly sure how you learned, so we have. That's why I wanted to do some exercises.
No, I like how this is going to. Let's see. Let's jump back into a game and see what we have. So I'll try. I'll just see some. Gotcha. Let me see if I still have. Or like the Phoenix deck. So as a disclaimer, it may not be playable because of this. I have 3 Phoenixes.
That's fine.
Okay, I was like, oh man.
It only adjusts the binding one.
Uh-huh.
By like
when it matters.
30 to. Nah, it's not that bad. Like it's like 20 something. I can't. I don't want to do the math in my head. But,
You're fine.
Yeah.
So this is a keep, in my opinion. So turn one off. Oh wait, never mind. I'm goofy. Sulfur falls. Now it's interesting. So I do think I still would keep it in the sense that I can turn 2 Goblin Electromancer and essentially enable like several different methods to cycle my cards.
Yes. Perfect. Perfect.
Okay.
Goblin Electromancer is deck you recognize. Optionality that recorded for you. But yeah, you recognize that the Electromancer's and that the cards that you had in your hand could take advantage of that. Yeah, some people will have to find for your easiest what comes natural and how you.
Mm-hmm.
Some people engine cards, some people hands. Cards that take advantage of the deck, but see the point I make.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you recognized it right away.
And so when playing as well, is there a point when I should anticipate that like so for example, Hydrocrasis could come down next turn. Oh, it'll be a what is it, a 2/2? And then he'll draw 1, gain 1. I don't know, just anticipating things that I know, like so I know he's gonna draw that and he has a land in hand.
Does
So
it
then
matter
it
to your game
activates.
plan?
Okay.
That's the thing. That's what you have to ask. Matter to your game.
Gotcha. So just play your own game plan.
Most of the
The
time.
best of its ability. Gotcha.
Most of the but so in this case, it doesn't matter to your game plan. However, there are certainly times not keep it.
Okay. I was wondering if a reactive shock is anything.
If you like back to something.
Gotcha.
All right. Then chart a course before.
And then should I get rid of land? I suppose. Gotcha. And then tormenting voice.
And that or lava. Buys time. Back for 2.
Uh-huh.
Here, okay, well, that draw made it.
Mm-hmm.
So here's evaluate your plan to win. So go ahead and go do that.
So if I had to, so just transitioning like Magic, or I'm sorry, Hearthstone, for example, like before I make any actions, as long as the mana is available, I always draw first or joust first. Do any of my RNG, anything that, which I guess drawing is RNG in this case.
Yes.
So just to kind of go through my mindset here. And so is shock something I would want here? It's not proactive, but it does get rid of Golgari Queen.
It actually doesn't. Oh, I see.
It'll kill her.
But... I see. Yeah. Okay, so we don't have time. Don't take shock. Break, I'd say.
Okay.
So if your opponent is sitting there just like sacrificing their lands and cards, is that something that
definitely not?
Okay. That means that you don't need to conserve Varel.
Gotcha.
Um,
Just Drake, I imagine.
yeah, yeah, unfortunately.
I get the draw, and then I guess he'll remove it.
Um, so that's I would not have played.
Oh, okay, you would have preferred to format and as enough. Just okay. Um,
So yeah, that's the question that you're asking. Does casting this shock advance my game? Permanent? Opponent? Do I need a cheap spell to return? That's what you're asking.
We've got this. There's a Phoenix.
Got it.
Um, and would it be worth beacon bolting this? And then that'll get my Phoenix out.
Yeah.
And then attacking her makes sense, or this is fine in the graveyard actually, so just pushing the damage.
Yeah. So this is the decision you're making about: are you playing for a value game?
I think he wins in the late game, especially since he has healing available. So I think the faster the better. But maybe then killing her would make sense.
So here is value so much. I think 5 life.
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
Doesn't feel good.
But it gets you to that ultimate goal of just winning.
How do you feel about your decision?
Let's see.
Better or worse?
Oh, better for sure. Knowing that he's just gonna. Sorry, I was trying to like comprehend exactly what's going on right now. But,
oh yeah.
So if I discovery, take a Phoenix, then I can discard it with Jumpstart to beacon bolt that. If I hit a Phoenix, I suppose. Is Crackling Drake worth keeping it all? Or I guess not knowing that he has a Vivian in hand too. Okay.
How greedy do you feel about this chart?
I think, well, considering that, yeah, I think it's fine.
You can attack with it.
For the land, right?
I went, oh,
I'm so sorry.
fine. Don't worry about it. Discard the island.
But then I.
Sorry, that blood curved it.
Very fine.
So yeah, now you.
And probably, yeah, just toss the radical idea.
So that was a situation where that you wanted to attack first, so you could draw 2.
Okay, yeah.
Have anything you wanted.
I did forget that there's a legitimate way to use that card other than
yeah
actually playing on the discard, like mono blue uses it,
right, just
more than any of them.
It's just it's something I like. You your game plan is so rapidly. Uh, your game plan is so rapidly
Uh-huh.
that uh, go ahead and play. Takes.
It's looking great.
Did
Or
you get
grim. I could have. Okay. This game's probably over. And I'm sure
Sure.
you're a little busy as well.
Oh man. Insulting.
I know.
Okay. But I wanted to finish making my point about that is because the game is advancing so it's having more reading. If you had something you discard it, right?
Uh-huh.
You didn't have any feeling. Had other ways to discard that Phoenix. It's like all of those stacking together.
Gotcha.
Top 2 cards of your
Mm-hmm.
had the discard it.
Gotcha.
Oh, well, and now you have a exercises that you can with the sample hands from TC.
Mm-hmm.
Have tools to understand how to fit into several approaches based on your mode.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Very welcome. Time. Tell your friends.
Ciao.
All right. Thank you very much for joining. YouTube for watching. Coaching session valuable. See you next time. Bye.